Thank you for Patreon now for donating to the Patreon. Hey guys, this video is back at another Card Fight Vanguard deck profile. If you guys enjoyed, don't like, comment, subscribe, and do the Patreon. Let's get on started. Today we have Nova Grappler, Beast Deities with reverse in it. So, a lot of people are giving reverse shit, and then a lot of people aren't giving reverse shit. I want to let it be clear now, reverse is actually really good. But here's the thing with it. It is, I'm not going to say incredibly complicated, but it is a complicated thing. In this deck, it does involve big brain plays. And this is going to sound really insulting. And I mean this in the least insulting way possible. But if you don't feel like it, but if you can't pull off big brain plays, or you don't like pulling off, or having to play a deck that involves big brain plays to use, don't play Beasties, but don't talk shit about it, because the deck genuinely does work. It's really good. I've both died to it and won with it in stupid ways. So let's go ahead and get the deck started, shall we? First up, our starter is Beast Deity White Tiger. Grade 0, boost, 10k shield, 6k base. Auto wins, wrote upon, draw a card, then if your opponent's Vanguard's grade 1 or greater, put a quick shield, take it to your hand. Standard starter build, nothing special about it. The reason when you run this one, though, it is because, like the Ezel build, your grade 0 is actually important because there is a card in the deck that takes advantage of a specific starter. So we do run it for the sake of that one card, and all of you can probably guess what it is because there's only one card that does. So White Tiger's in this deck as the starter because support for one card, but also, draw and quick show is really nice. Trigger-wise, we run 8 draws in 3 minutes in Memory Bot Adelaide. Oh, sorry, I didn't give this the right response. We have Memory Bot Adelaide at 4, and then we have Mondala, the person who mains Nova Grappler as the clan. We have his stand, 3 minutes who will win the next match in a total of 3 minutes. We have no idea how, but, the next time someone plays against Beast Deity, I'll make it my life's mission. I will win a match in 3 minutes just to prove a point with this. Anyways, and then we run our 4 Crit Sentinel and Extreme Battler Break Pass, 5k shield, 30k shield, 5k base, grade 0 with boost, just critical trigger, and continue Sentinel. You have 4 Sentinels in your deck. And then we have 4 Heal Trigger and Heal Boy. Now, to debunk the triggers, we do not run front into this deck, solely because the whole purpose of this deck is to get onto reverse, and reverse, since it forces you to lock your rear guards when he is standing. Drive checking fronts isn't going to do any bit of help. I mean, you could technically loop them with Brainy Papio and actually have your rear guards get numbers, but you kind of want the draw trigger so you can fill up your hand and keep calling rear guards for reverse to lock in. If you can't get to reverse, you can at least sit on ethics for a while. And the critical trigger here, well, when your Vanguard is swinging for 3 to 4 times a turn, you want crit pressure. And then we don't run the draw PG because when I was running the draw PG, having to discard 2 cards just wasn't really worth it when I could just run the 8 draws and then run the crit Sentinel. So yeah, I prefer not the draw PG in this build. And then Heal Guardians. Okay, I don't need to explain it, but I will explain it anyways because apparently people need me to explain it in every video. So I hate Heal Guardians because they're detrimental to my style. They could prevent me from G-assisting, and if I don't have my main grade 3 in hand, I will literally always try to discard a grade 3 to guard with it on purpose, even if I just take the attack because I want to G-assist. But also, because Heal Guardians have shield, I cannot afford to guard with them because I would normally like to hit 3 to 4 damage in the early game so I can do counterblast heavy shit on the first grade 3 turn and put myself in the advantage seat. But because it has an on-place ability that applies when I haven't written a grade 3 yet, and the only reason I'd be guarding with it at this point is if I'm trying to get to grade 3, so I'm G-assisting on purpose, or trying to get to G-assist on purpose, the Heal Guardian would prevent me from getting to the high damage that I want to, and basically go against my entire style. And it's not worth using a PG to discard the Heal Guardian into the drop zone, because then that's just even worse. It's not worth running the Heal Guardian, in my opinion, in my personal style. If you want to run the Heal Guardian because it works for you, run the Heal Guardian. I don't even do this in Dimension Police, so we all know that I don't like it, because if I'm willing to sacrifice in the one deck that there would be logical reason to do it in, I don't do it. So 4 copies of Heal Wallboy. And then we go into our grade 1s. 4 copies of Beast Deity Scarlet Badu. 8k base to 10k shield, grade 1 with boost. Auto rear guard when it's placed during your main phase, so you can't just Brainy Papio it in the battle phase, you have to do it in the main phase. Soul Blast 1, stand all of your units, including the Vanguard, if you stood 2 or more, and Beast Deity White Tiger is still in your soul, draw a card. So downside is you have to avoid Soul Blasting White Tiger, and there are a few cards in this deck that do Soul Blast, but as long as you can avoid Soul Blasting that White Tiger, you can net to yourself a draw and restand your board. So all around, Scarlet is really nice. Could get your main phase attackers to restand so you can get more attacks in the turn. So 4 copies. 4 copies of Beast Deity Max B, AK base, grade 1 boost, 10k shield. I don't know why with this card, but when I see 1, I see all of them in the remainder of that turn. If 1 comes into my hand, We'll explain skill first. Auto, when it's placed on Vanderveer, will look at top 3, choose up to 1 grade 2 or greater beastie and its card name from among them. Sorry, grade 2 or oh yeah, it is grade 2 or greater, never mind. Oh, fuck, my friend screwed me over, because he said it was only grade 1s or... He said it was grade 2 or less. Liar. Anyways, its card name, reveal it, put it to your hand, and put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. If you put a card to your hand, and this unit's on rear, rest it. So... this thing is pretty good. I mean, now I know you can't search it. Anyways, yes, so I now have learned that you cannot use this card to search out another copy of it, but the good news is me and my friend weren't doing that at all, except the thing is, or my friend was, but I wasn't, because whenever I see one max beat, I get another in my hand. Like, I remember the premium game I did with this, I had 2 in my opening hand. Okay, cool. I ride a max beat, I draw for turn, I draw for turn, okay, I draw a 3rd max beat, ride max beat, move something back, look at top 3, get something, and then I do a later play because I call Typhoon Bird, skill of Typhoon Bird, look at top 5, oh, there's a max beat. Yeah, max beat kind of, I don't know why it was max beat, but apparently when I see one, the rest of them just flock to the hand almost immediately. So, you know, really good searcher that's an on place, and yes, he has to rest himself if he was on rear when he does it, but if I'm correct, you can just Typhoon Bird into it, and because it's already rested, you could just get a search just to search, and he can work on Vanguard as well, and you don't have to rest him there, and he can hit you a grade 3. 4 copies I'm happy because all around it's a really good searcher. Next up, we have Beast Deity Lift Taurus, our last grade 1. Grade 1 boosts 10k shield, 8k base, auto rear. When placed during your main phase, you may stand one of your units with Beast Deity's card name. Okay, so this thing can stand everyone. This thing can only stand a Beast Deity, but they can both stand Vanguards, but this one does it for free. And then auto Vanderveer, when your Vanguard attack hits, look at top 5, build to 1 grade 3 with Beast Deity and its card name from among them, put it to your hand and shuffle your deck. If you put a card and this unit's on rear, you gotta shove it to soul. So if it's on Van when it happens, you just get a free search. If it's on rear, you do have to send it to soul. But that's a way to increase your soul count, so you have fodder for this boy later. But also this is just a look at the top 5 and can net you one of your main grade 3s or your side grade 3. Either way, really nice card, 4 of. Next up, we have our grade 2s, 3 copies of Beast Deity Eclair Dragon, 9k base, 5k shield, grade 2 with intercept, auto rear. When placed during your main phase, if you have a grade 3 Vanguard with Beast Deity's card name, counterboss 1, discard 1, gets +3 for the turn, and attacks your opponent Vanguard with it. If the attack did not hit, stand this unit in battle. So I believe that you cannot boost it, but still that's a 12k swinger, and can possibly stand himself. So all around, that is pretty good, adds for a bit of pressure, and granted it has to swing the Vanguard, which is the sad part, but you know, you can still, like, even if they let it hit, you can just restand with Scarlet Bird or Taurus over here, or any of your other restanding effects. Either way, Eclair is really good. 3 copies. Especially because main phase thing. Because here's the thing. Reverse only locks your rear guards if he is standing. And a lot of people seem to complain that, like, reverse goes against the entirety of the deck. You're all aware that it adds on hit pressure from Ethics Buster to where they don't want it to hit, so they will actively guard it. And if they choose to take it, the boy is rested, and which means you can afford to use your main phase attackers like Eclair over here, and then swing. So a lot of people are saying that it doesn't, like, benefit, like, it's going against everything that the Beast Deity deck stands for at all, even though it locks them into main phase battling, which is what they did in V. I'm sorry, does no one understand what Beast Deities did? Because it seems like it's only locking them into the main phase, and not locking them out of it. And it adds on hit pressure. Basically giving what the deck needs. 3 copies of Eclair because it's really good either way. Next up, we need 3 copies of Beast Deity Typhoon Bird. 9k base, 5k shield, grade 2 with intercept. Active Vanguard or rear guard once per turn if you have a Vanguard Beast Deity in his card name. Counterboss 1 with the top 5. Call up to 1 Beast Deity in his card name other than a grade 2 from among them as rest and shuffle your deck. Get max beat, get a search, get Scarlet Bird, just stand itself. Get this to just stand itself again. Either way, Typhoon Bird's really good. Like, yeah, it's a counterboss, but it literally searches your entire deck not searches your entire deck, but basically anything that's not a trigger, it can call from the top 5, as long as it's not another grade 2, and it will still make you a unit for later purposes. And if it's one of the standards, it can just stand itself. And if you've already attacked with a Vanguard, cool, you can stand the Vanguard with it too. Either way, Typhoon Bird's a really nice card, gets you a board, it only costs 1 counterboss to do so, 3 copies. 4 copies of Beast Deity Brainy Papio. In terms of art, one of my favorite. In terms of abilities, the one I use the least. Grade 2, intercept, 5k shield, 9k base. Auto, when it's discarded from your hand during your turn, you may call this card to rear guard as rest. So you discard it for one of your Ethics Buster boys or Eclair. You can get it to the board as rest. Cool, okay, you got a replacement, and then if you can call a restander, boy can stand. That's perfect. And then auto Vanderveer. When the attack of your Vanguard or Beast Deity in its card name hits, not this unit, but your Vanguard, Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, draw a card, choose up to 1 grade 2 or less card with Beast Demon's card name from your hand, call it to rear guard, and that rear guard gets plus 10 for the turn. At the end of the turn, return that rear guard to your hand. So boy can get you a unit, but Counterblast 1 and Soul Blasting 1, you get a draw, and you can possibly get another unit out that can swing for 19, maybe if it's a grade 2. I'm not sure how I feel about that, because like the cost of Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, in my opinion, just isn't worth it. Because like, you know, your Counterblasts are already used up by your main phase attacker and your Searcher, and then the Soul Blast, you're kind of running a tight ship unless they just constantly let the Vanguard hit, so Tauros gets to go off a lot. So I'm kind of 50-50 on that Brainy Papio ability, but my thing with it is it adds on more hit pressure with the Vanguard, so now if they take the Vanguard, they're enabling another attack that will guaranteedly bounce back to hand and add plus 10 to it. So now they have more reasons to guard it, I guess. And it can also somewhat get around like the reverse locking thing to some extent. I guess I give Brainy Papio a 4 of? Because like, he can be good in the right situations. How often do I hit those situations? Not very often. But he can still be good in the right situations. How you get there is beyond me. Also, if you can't tell, I'm not a pro BCD player. I just know how to play the deck from what I've seen and how I've played. On to grade 3s. 3 copies of Ultra Beast DD Aluminum Dragon. 12k base, grade 3 Twin Drive Excel Gift, auto van once per turn. At the end of the battle, your rear guard's attack did not hit. Counterblast 1, stand that unit, and that unit gets plus 10 for the turn. Then attack your opponent's Vanguard with it. So if you have to ride this, worst case scenario, so you can use Eclair Dragon in the main phase, swing for 12. If the attack doesn't hit, you could either use his ability to stand him. Actually, no, wait, because how the ability works, he would just stand regardless, so you go for 22. Okay, you go to battle phase, swing with this, so it goes to 12, and then the attack fails again because maybe they had a trigger. Skill of Luna, Counterblast 1, stand that unit again, Boy stands for 22 now, and you got another rear guard attack. All around, Illumina's really good on Vanguard because you just get you another attack, and auto van rear once per turn. When your other unit's attack hits, this unit gets plus 50 for the turn. So he's a 27k swing on Vanguard or rear guard if someone else hits, and if he's on Vanguard, he can increase the chance of your units hitting by just constantly restanding him. A lot of people use him as a backup rear guard, and then a lot of people say like he has no purpose on Van. I mean, I rarely hear people say that, but I hear some people say that he's useless on Van. Boy's not useless on Van. The guy gets you an extra restand. The guy gets you an extra 15k power. All around, the guy is really good, and I give him a 3 of. Next up, we have our not our main grade 3, but like our backup grade 3, I guess, is 4 copies of Beast Deity Ethics Buster. Grade 3, Twin Drive Excel Gift, 12k base, auto Vanguard, when placed, discard 2 cards from your hand to stand one of your units with Beast Deity in its card name and attack your opponent's Vanguard with that unit. At the end of the battle, if the attack did not hit, stand that unit, and if the attack hit, that unit loses a drive for the turn. So, pretty much you could pick a rear guard for this, but let's all be fair. You're discarding 2 hand cards, so this can swing in the main phase, so you just get the hand cards right back, because you don't have to stand a unit for it to swing, and then typically they will take this just so that you lose a drive, and then you're forced to either use one of your Tauroses or Scarlet Bird to restand this, but if for some reason they guard this, presumably because they're at 4 damage and they don't want to risk that crit, or 5 damage and they don't want to risk that death, they will stand it. And auto Vanguard, when your unit with Beastie's card name attacks, it can be itself, it can be your rear guard, Counterblast 1, and then you get plus 5 for the turn. Okay, that's pretty decent. I do not like that it costs a Counterblast, because that involves you like paying more Counterblast, so that's why I often don't use it, but it is a way to get plus 5, and it is a way for your beasties basically to hit grade 3s that don't have triggers on them, or to make them slightly stronger. So I do like that Nethys Buster, and that first ability to be able to, you can choose a rear guard, but let's all be fair. No one has ever chosen a rear guard with that skill. I mean, you can use it to discard Brainy Papio and then swing with Van, and then Brainy Papio's timing would intercept it and then call itself, but still. So, you want that restand, you want that Vanguard swing in the main phase, you go 4 copies of this boy. And then 4 copies of the guy who goes in 10 with that combo, and our last unit of the deck, and our new boy, Deadliest Beast Deity Ethics Buster Yaeverse. Grade 3, Twin Drive, Excel Gift, 12k base. I don't know why, I'm sorry, I'm off. I just recorded the Dungaree video before this, and I'm still kind of remembering the 17k base thing. Auto Vanguard, when your rear guard attacks, if this unit is stand, lock that rear guard. So, if you didn't ride from this, and you didn't rest it, and then like they didn't take the attack, then, any rear guard that swings, whether it's in the main phase or battle phase, you do lose access to that rear guard's attack because it will get locked before your opponent gets to guard, but it's still fine because once more, it adds reason for it not to hit if you ride this on top of Ethics Buster. Like, ride it on top of Ethics Buster. People say you have a dead Ethics Buster turn if you ride it. What do you mean you have a dead Ethos Buster turn? If you play this build, you have... I mean, beasties in general could have like a total of 8 restanders because Tauros and Scarlet Bird can work together. Get you a restand, a deck that doesn't really cost that much soul, and a deck that can just restand for free. I mean, it's always someone cost a lot of soul if you play it a certain way. But then get you a restand, and then Beast Deity first turn isn't dead, especially if you have Aluminum Dragon on your board. So I don't know what the fuck they're talking about, but then reverse being dead, no, it adds pressure. And if they let this thing stand, it only makes it so that you're getting, like, it just makes it so that you don't have to big brain play, and it actually saves you resources. So there's no reason, and I'll explain why in a second. So its second skill is Auto Van. When it attacks, this unit gets +5 for the turn. So it really goes just a free 5, and it activates each time it attacks. And at the end of the battle, discard a card from your hand, choose 3 of your lock cards, unlock them, retire those units. If you retire 3, stand this unit. So... Nuke 3, restand. Easy. And Auto Van, when this unit attack hits, Soul Bounce 1, Beast Deity, Ethos Buster, and it goes with +1 drive for the turn. Cool. They let this thing hit when it's off of Ethos Buster's skill. It just doesn't lose drives, so the only reason they would take it is just so that you don't have to, it is just so that you are not allowed to, what's it called? It's just so that you are... What was I going with this? Oh yeah, just so that you don't waste out their hand cards. But here's why you would save resources with this card. Because, say for example... they chose to guard this. Cool, it restands. Now you know that any rear guard you swing with will get locked. So instead of like committing a hand to board and doing a lot of tricky combo plays to make a whole board and setup, what you can do is you can just call, I don't know, Eclair Dragon, not use its skill, Brainy Papio, and then maybe just a, what's it called? Maybe just a Typhoon Bird, and then not even use any of those skills. Or hell, you could just call a copy of this thing just for the sake of calling a copy of this thing. Swing, even if all of the attacks don't hit. Skill, proceed to lock all of the rear guards. Hey, guess what? Now you have 3. Vanguard swings with no drive minus, because presumably they let this stand. So, you know, you get 2 more drives, so now you're at 4. Cool. Skill, discard a card. Nuke the 3 locked cards you have. Proceed to stand this boy. He's already swinging. He already got the +10 from swinging twice, so now he's at 22. Swing again, 27, with another 2 drives. You get 6 drives, 3 Vanguard attacks. That's very deadly on its own, hence the name Deadly's Ethos Buster Extreme. But then, if for some reason they choose to take it, and they don't see a trigger, you can commit a board, get more attacks out of it, and then screw your opponent over. Because, you know, granted, like, both of these have to be placed during the main phase, so technically speaking, you do have to, like, sack certain materials. Since reverse doesn't cost any counterblast, you can use Eclair just to swing during the main phase, and then kind of just loop its attack with it if you have extra Scarlet Bird / Taurus lying around, and then, you know, not lose out on a lot of attacks with lock skill. So, you know, Ethos Buster is not bad. It just involves you being smart with it. So I don't want to see anyone saying that Ethos Buster is bad, because it works. It works in Premium, it works in V, it works anywhere. So 4 copies of reverse. And then I guess we run 6XL1, 6XL2s. Both of them are very similar to each other, whereas for both of them, when they are acquired, they go in a new front rearguard circle, first at the top left, then top right, then you alternate between the 2. The difference is XL1, the unit on that circle gets +10k power during your turn, and XL2, when the circle is placed, you draw a card, and then the unit on that circle gets +5k during your turn. This one gives you less power, but more hand cards and more resources, and I say go with this one, especially when you're going for that reverse play turn, because once you do, the unit on that circle, if reverse is standing, it's going to get locked, which is very unfortunate. But either way, I do say go for XL2 if you want to go for XL1, because maybe you know your opponent's going to just let reverse lie down and you're going to have a bunch of Eclair Dragons building up. I say go for XL1. So, in my opinion, they'll go for XL2 in the overall run. And then we have a quick show, which is when one of you is +5k for the battle. Nothing too special about it. You typically use it for discard fart of Ethos Buster, who costs no counterblast, so you kind of, you know, have a bunch of free effects off. Or you could just use it for discard fodder of Eclair Dragon. And that's pretty much the deck. So if you guys enjoyed, all around, Ethos Buster is interesting. It definitely involves combo plays, and is definitely really hard to pull off. But then if you're like someone who can definitely big brain your way out of a lot of cards, you can abuse the crap out of this deck, because this deck can hit really quickly. You get like 7, 8 attacks, and 3 to 4 of them, if you play it right, can be Vanguard attacks. I don't know how to do that because I'm not a really good Beast Deity player. Like, I'm fine with admitting that. But I know a good Beast Deity player, and he can hit like 3 to 4 attacks with this deck alone. Like, with the Vanguard alone. It's really easy. It's not really that hard. The only problem this deck has is just dying to triggers, but that's like what every Nova deck is, except for maybe the exception of 1 to 2. That's just because like Novus was the first Excel deck, and obviously they didn't really get that much support to prevent them from dying to triggers. But either way, these deities hit hard and they hit fast. Like, this deck is honestly really fun. If you want to play, just remember you got to be big brain with it. But all around, like, that's the end of the deck profile. So if you guys enjoy, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, don't forget to Patreon, join Discord, follow Twitch, and I'll see you on the next one. Don't forget to stand up your vanguards.